Hello and welcome to Competitive Crunch. My name is Spade and today we're going to be looking at Smogon's usage statistics of October. And these already came out on November 4th, but I still thought this would be an interesting topic to be looking at because now we can just see which Pokemon were people using during the first week of Pokemon X and Y OU on the Showdown. And I'm going to be looking at the Generation 6 OU ladder here as opposed to the Pokemon Bank OU, which I personally like to play myself when I'm on Showdown. But this tier right here is reflecting the actual Pokemon X and Y games when it comes to all the access to the Pokemon and the items, and then the Pokemon Bank OU. Over there we have access to all the stuff that we will have in December, but this is more reflecting to what we have at the moment. So that is what I'm going to be looking at today. Perhaps sometime I could look at also Pokebank OU, but we'll leave that for the future. But something to take into account is that during October the tiers were active for only about a week. Because, you know, obviously Smogon first had to set up all the ladders, implement all the new Pokemon, all the new moves, attacks, abilities, new mechanics, custom sprites for the Pokemon, because obviously you can't just simply rip the Pokemon from the data of the game like you used to, and you have the 3D models and they are still using 2D sprites because it's a simulator. So, yeah, taking into that account, I must say, Smogon and Showdown, they have done incredible work because the games came out during October 12th, so about 2 weeks after, they already had a working beta ladder that we could play on. Of course, everything is not perfect there yet, but, you know, still it's a playable environment, and that is just really incredible. So I applaud to Smogon and Showdown for doing that and setting everything up so soon. But, yeah, the tiers were only active for a week, and, of course, during the first week, people were mostly just using things that they wanted. They were using Pokemon, a lot of random Pokemon for the sake of using them, not for the sake of them actually being good for the metagame. I'm not complaining, but of course we have to take this into account that these the statistics are not necessarily really relevant when it comes to building the actual tiers in the future, because yeah, people are just using a lot of random Pokemon because they want to try them out. I've been doing that myself, trying out all sorts of new Pokemon, and it's been extremely fun. But still, regardless, it is really cool to see what people were actually using during the first week. And so now let's just jump right into it and try to guess which Pokemon was the #1 most used one during the first week. I don't think this will come as a surprise to anyone who has been in the competitive scene, so let's jump right into it now. And there we go. Ta-da! It is Aegislash. Of course. What a surprise. Yeah, even if you have been playing on Wi-Fi, this thing was everywhere and it still pretty much is. Not sure if during this month's statistics Aegislash will have dropped a bit, or has it shipped, or will it still be the #1 Pokemon? But this Pokemon is just absolutely everywhere. It still is, and well, it's overall just a great Pokemon, and not really a surprise that it is so high on the usage. And in total, during the first week on Showdown, there were over 155,000 battles, and out of those, around 59,000 of them had Aegislash in them. So there you go. That just goes to show you how much Aegislash was used. But yeah, overall a great Pokemon, and I already talked about that in the previous episode. So yeah, just trying to go quickly through them, give my random thoughts like I usually do, but let's not get stuck into one too much. So #2, we got Greninja, and personally, I'm kind of surprised to see this thing so high. Although, like, this thing has indeed been everywhere. People have been using it a lot, and taking into account that arguably it has the most competitive potential out of all the starters. And of course, the starter Pokemon always hold a special place in everyone's hearts. So it certainly has, in my opinion, the best competitive use out of the 3 starters that we got in Generation 6, and it has that unique ability, Protean, which is also probably one of the reasons that people are using it a lot. And it's just really awesome that this Pokemon, it just basically gains stab, same type attack bonus from every single move that it uses. So even though its special attack is not that high, with the Protean ability, it gains 1.5 times the boost to every single move that it's going to be using, and you can definitely take advantage of this thing. Also defensively, because you think your opponent thinks he's gonna be able to hit you super effectively, but then you use Protean and change into some other kind of type, and then the Greninja doesn't die because it just changes type to something different. So it's something that it's really incredible. It's kind of insane playing against it, because you also have to think, what type is it going to be changing when it comes to you playing against it and hitting it. So that is where its competitive potential lies, coupled with its incredible speed, which is around 122 if I'm not mistaken, and still respectable 103 base special attack. Its physical attack is kind of like, overall I think its potential lies on the special side, considering what its move pool is and everything. But yeah, really cool Pokemon, and let's move on. Then we got Talonflame, and of course Gale Wings, Priority, Brave Birds, and Acrobatics is what's gaining usage for this Pokemon. Everybody wants to be using this thing because it is something unique that we haven't had in the past. Gale Wings giving +1 priority to all flying type moves, and of course you could also be using Roost, which is what a lot of people are using combined with Bulk Up. But this is something that we have never had in the past, so of course people are going to be using it a lot. It certainly has potential to stay high in the OU tier, at least for the upcoming months. But not really a surprise to see Talonflame this high, and I already kind of talked about this in a separate episode. So let's move on to number 4. We got Gengar right here, and definitely Mega Gengar is gaining this Pokemon a lot of usage, because people want to be trying that out. And of course it has access to Shadow Tag, which is arguably one of the broken abilities in the entire game. And Gengar and Mega Gengar can of course take full advantage of that ability with its new incredibly high stats. It can kind of revenge kill a lot of things. Of course you cannot put something like Scarf on this thing, but still, regardless, great Pokemon. And of course Gengar has been OU since the beginning of tiers and everything, so it's not really surprising to see Gengar here. And of course it has now new potential to as a regular Gengar, because you know there are fairy types that are weak to poison, so Gengar is arguably one of the top tier OU poison type Pokemon, and now it can actually be using Sludge Bomb to its advantage, which hasn't really seen too much potential in the past, but now it has all sorts of new uses against fairy types, for example. But then we got good old Ferrothorn. Even despite the new Steel type mechanics, you know, Steel type taking neutral damage from Ghost and Dark, Ferrothorn is still high on the usage. And of course that is another thing raising Gengar, is making Gengar even better, that you know, it's no longer walled as easily by Steel type. So when Jirachi comes out, it's not going to be walling out Gengar anymore. So yeah, Gengar on that aspect has more potential than in the past as well. But anyways, going back into Ferrothorn, it's still a great wall as it used to be. Still has plenty of resistances, and the new resistance to the fairy type, of course, and it still walls things like No Tomorrow, even despite taking a little bit of a nerf with the Steel mechanics. But it's your primary setup, entry hazard carrier, and you know, it has Stealth Rocks, Spikes, Lead Seed, all sorts of utility, coupled with its unique awesome typing. So not really surprising to see it this high on the usage. And next we got Tyranitar. That thing also gained a Mega Evolution, but still, you know, it's gonna be your main. Like, the weather is not really of course, it's not that good in this metagame because all the weathers got nerfed. There's no perma weather anymore. But Tyranitar is overall a great Pokemon. It has that good natural bulk. It has high attack, great move pool, Stealth Rocks there to support your team, and you know, it can be pursuing some ghost types and stuff like that. It's still, you know, almost as good as it was in the past, because of course, you know, of course it took a nerf with the no more permasand and everything, but still a really useful Pokemon. And you know, it did gain the Mega Tyranitar evolution too, so that might be gaining some attraction as well. And then we got Scissor, and you know, Scissor with its view turning and bullet punching is still a really great Pokemon, and Steel type offensively slightly better now because, you know, it can be used to take down fairies, so not really surprising to see Scissor here. And of course it also has Mega Scissor, the new Mega evolution that people are finding really useful, and well, at least they are wanting to try it out, so that's one of the reasons why all the Mega Pokemon are gaining a lot of usage, because people just want to try them out for the sake of using them. But of course, you know, Bandit Scissor is still as good as ever, and yeah, Scissor just overall a great Pokemon as it was in the past. So then we got Klefki, really interesting utility Pokemon, and basically the combination of Fairy and Steel is the new Steel and Psychic, because it's only weak to ground and fire, so it's a really good defensive typing. And Klefki has some really useful utility moves to go well with its ability Prankster, like Priority Spikes and Thunder Wave to cripple some fast sweepers. So those are really the main attractions that it has, and you know, it kind of deals well with decently well with the Aegislash, with the foul play that it also has access to. But one of the most interesting new Prankster Pokemon for certain. And then we got Garchomp here, and of course, because of Mega Garchomp, people are using this Pokemon a lot. And you know, Garchomp has that infamous past. It's been Ubers many times in the past. In Generation 4 it was banned for good, in Gen 5 it was banned, and then it came back because of the ban of Sandwhale. So Garchomp has always been a scary Pokemon, and it still is, and of course gaining new attraction with that Mega Evolution. So there's that. Then we got Goodra, really interesting Pokemon. As I remember somebody put it in the comment section in one of the previous episodes, Goodra is like the poster child of the new item Assault Vest, because that thing, Goodra has really high special defense, but then it doesn't really get any good support moves. But it does have, on the offensive side, it has really incredible move pool. It has access to like Fire Blast and Thunderbolt and Ice Beam and Dragon Pulse and Sludge Bomb and Earthquake and Dragon Tail and all sorts of moves. So and it's incredibly cute on top of everything. So interesting Pokemon, and of course people are wanting to use it. It's also the pseudo legendary of this generation, so it has that really prestigious status as a Pokemon. So personally, I don't really know what to think of really Goodra, because it's a special wall that doesn't really get any good support moves, but then on the offensive side it has incredible move pool, but because it's more of a specially defensive wall, it cannot abuse it as well as, you know, something like Genesect, let's say, or Alakazam, Gengar, that are, you know, your primary special sweepers, for example, just to name a few. But it's definitely a really hard-hitting special wall. I'm sure it will find its place, but I'm not really entirely sure what to make of Goodra, but it's absolutely adorable for sure. And then number 11, we have Azumarill right here. Again, the new fairy typing also has now finally access to Belly Drum and Aqua Jet on the same set because of the new breeding mechanics. Mother being able to pass down egg moves. And gotta say, the water and fairy typing is really great for Azumarill. Also has that new fairy type physical move, called Play Rough. I believe that's the only physical fairy type move, unless there has some new ones that people didn't know about a few weeks ago or something, I don't know, but as far as I know, it's the only physical one. But still, that's definitely an incredible boost for Azumarill, and defensively, you know, it has that good natural bulk, and you know, with the new fairy type resistances, it's definitely an awesome Pokemon, and that's just that combination of Aqua Jet and Beledrum, although I think it's still better off using just Choice Band, but it's something new that people can do now and try out now that they weren't able to use in the past, so that also is gaining somewhat more of a attraction. But when it comes to physical fairy types, Azumarill is probably the best one, so that alone is the reason to be using this thing. So there we go. Then we got Rotom as you know, it's as good as annoying as ever, a partner for Scizor in the ball turning shenanigans. And yeah, it's just overall a great Pokemon. You know, Levitate ability, so it has only one weakness to grass, aside from some random Mold Breaker users, but definitely a great Pokemon, has good natural bulk, can perform as a Choice Scarf user, even Specs user, has all sorts of utility moves, Thunder Wave, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split to keep itself alive, but Rotom Wash, yeah, simply as good as ever. And then, of course, number 13, we got Excadrill, and, you know, of course, in previous generation, Excadrill was banned, so people are, of course, excited to be using this thing, and it's one of the best spinners at this time, especially considering that we have really limited access to all the default users, because we kind of have to import them or export them from the past generations once we get access to Pokemon Bank. But at this time, you know, Excadrill is going to be doing some spinning, and also, you know, you can abuse it with sand, even though Permasand is not around anymore. But this just means that Excadrill might be, and most certainly is going to be in the OU tier as opposed to getting banned, because when you think about it, when you have double speed in the sand, in infinite sand and access to Sword Sands, that made Excadrill extremely broken, but that is no longer the case in Generation 6, so this Excadrill might be sticking along in this gen, but still has that sweeping potential, and also people have been using Mold Breaker a lot more, kind of just to deal with Rotom Wash, because it can just destroy it with EQ. Otherwise, Rotom Wash kind of does more Excadrill, but yeah, there's that. Excadrill is back in the OU metagame, and good to see it there. Now, number 14, we got Noivern, the new Dragon type sweeper, or, you know, a lot of the time it's seen as a Choice Specs or Life Orb user. It is extremely fast and has respectable high special attack, so that's why people are using it a lot. And of course, dragons are, you know, still relevant in the metagame. And, you know, it does have incredible move pool too. It's kind of like, in a way, reverse Hydreigon, because Hydreigon doesn't have the best speed, but it has really high special attack. But then Noivern is kind of the other way around. It's really fast, but then its special attack, you know, it's great, but just going at that kind of reverse Hydreigon in that sense. You know what I mean, I hope. But anyways, great move pool. I think it has access to like Flamethrower and of course Draco Meteor and utility, scouting, U-turn. So definitely a great Pokemon. Fast and can force switches, U-turn. Yeah, definitely a great Pokemon. And then let's move on. We got Alakazam, also gained a Mega Evolution, incredible high stats that is gaining attraction and still has access to that Magic Guard from the previous generation. Overall, a great special sweeper, not really surprising to see it this high. And then we got Dragonite, still as good as ever with the multi-scale, and definitely going to be interesting to see how good it is actually going to be. With like default support, it's going to be easier to get rid of rocks and abuse multi-scale, and also a lot of people are using Dragonite with the new item weakness policy, because it's arguably one of the best users of it, because it can take super effective, even 4 times super effective moves with that multi-scale ability to activate that weakness policy, and then set up like Dragon Dance to get your speed and attack even higher, and then just destroy everything. But multi-scale, really unique user of it, and well, there aren't really, besides Lugia, there aren't any other multi-scale users, are there? So Dragonite is still as good as it was pretty much in the previous generation. Then again, there are fairy types, so disregard what I just said, but still a great Pokemon nonetheless. And then we got Gliscor, also about this Pokemon, I would say still as good as what was in the past, because just a really solid defensive wall, although it kind of has limited access to moves right now. And I'm not even sure if, I don't think Defog and Poison Heal are a compatible combination of moves, which kind of sucks in my opinion, because I think Gliscor would be one of the better users of Defog, but of course that is not relevant in this metagame, the Gen 6 OU at the moment, so I shouldn't be even talking about that. But Poison Heal Gliscor, as it was in the Gen 5, it is still annoying as ever with Sob, Protect, and Toxic, and Niikyu, and then, you know, just being the defensive behemoth with that Poison Heal. It's just simply a good reason to be using it against some new scary physical attackers like Lucario, although it tends to carry Ice Punch from time to time. But Lucario gained also a Mega Evolution. It has that incredibly powerful adaptability powered close combat, and also Bullet Punch, and definitely also got that speed boost, and I'm not in the ability, but it got a higher speed stat, which was one of the biggest setbacks to Lucario in the past. But now the Mega Evolution has kind of fixed that problem, and the adaptability boosted moves that just hit incredibly hard, and even with Life Orb, it's still a great Pokemon. In fact, you know, if you don't take into account the adaptability boosted moves with Life Orb, regular Lucario still hits hard. But then again, a lot of the times you want to be carrying close combat, and with adaptability, that is still hitting harder because, you know, incredible boost. But anyways, Lucario has been OU since its arrival, and it has incredible move pool. Yes, it has lots of cool moves. But it can go physical, it can go special, I guess it could go mixed. But yeah, great move pool, and high stats on the offensive side, and pretty good typing, 4 times resistance to Stealth Rocks, and that will also, because of its good typing, it also finds lots of opportunities to set up with like Sword Stance or even Nasty Plot. But yeah, still a great Pokemon, has that new Mega Evolution. And there we go. And Kangaskhan. Of course, this Pokemon is simply gaining usage because of its Mega Evolution. Mega Kangaskhan, which has the Parental Bond ability, which allows it to hit twice, and coupled with the new move Power Up Punch, which raises your attack by 1 stage. But of course, with Mega Kangaskhan, you are able to hit twice. So it's basically a weak fighting type attack that has an inbuilt Sword Dance, which makes this Mega Kangaskhan incredibly hard hitting. You couple that with a priority Sucker Punch, then return for Stab, and then some sort of coverage move like Earthquake. You are good to go. But of course, the fact that you can hit twice during the turn makes this Pokemon just absolutely incredible, and that is why it's gaining a lot of usage. And after that, we got Charizard, and this Pokemon gained 2 Mega Evolutions, which of course are the reason why Charizard is being used. Mega Charizard X and Y. And a lot of people are really excited about the Mega Charizard X because it is part Dragon type, and on the sweeping side, you know, it has a higher attack, and you know, incredible move pool again. Dragon Fire has really good coverage, aside from a few obscure things like Heatran, and obscure as in there are not many other things that would resist it besides Heatran. On that aspect of obscure. So really good coverage, and then you can put like Brick Break or Earthquake for extra coverage and, you know, destroy that Heatran. Then again, Heatran is not in this metagame yet, so we don't need to even worry about that. So Dragonfire, you know, I guess there's Azumarill now to kinda take its hits, but you know, yeah, still Mega Charizard X, incredible Pokemon, and the Y also gained the Drought ability, and it has also higher special attack. So if you're not Blissey, it's gonna be kind of destroying you, and even Blissey, I'm sure it will get hit hard by a sun boosted Fire Blast. That's for sure. But yeah, the Mega Evolutions are the reason why this Pokemon is used a lot. And then we got Trevenant, a really interesting Pokemon. I really like the set with the Subseed one with Curse and the Harvest ability and Citrus Berry, because it's just something unique that no other Pokemon is able to pull off. And this Pokemon, Trevenant, can do it. And also, it also has Natural Cure ability, which is also a great ability as well. But Ghost and Grass typing, also a really good spin blocker if you're facing an Excadrill. And when people are using Excadrill a lot, you know, might as well use a Trevenant. And overall, still a solid wall. Unique typing, unique move pool in a sense that it's able to use that Harvest sub Curse Lead Seed shenanigans. Also has Will-O-Wisp as another utility move, but overall a really great utility Pokemon, I would say. Has pretty good, I think 110 attack was it, but still on the defensive side. That's why you want to be using Trevenant. But unique Pokemon and one of the new Ghost type walls, so not surprised to see it in the new OU metagame this high, at least during the first week. But then we got Malamar. This thing has Contrary and Superpower. That's really cool. It's definitely better than whatchamacallit, Spinda, that had the Contrary Superpower combination in the past. But that is what is gaining a lot of usage for this thing, and I guess it's decent at taking on Aegislash. You can pull that topsy-turvy shenanigans, but really just a weird Pokemon, but it's kind of something different, and you know, that Contrary Superpower combination is too cool not to be used, at least during the first week, so that's why this Pokemon is gaining a lot of usage. I wouldn't really... Well, it's not a top-tier OU Pokemon at the moment, and I think it's gonna be, you know, in the future just keep on dropping, because outside of that Contrary Superpower, you know, I don't see too much potential in this Pokemon. I think in doubles it may have some interesting uses with the Topsy-Turvy. But anyways, moving on, we got Smeargle, and of course the fact that we have limited access to everything, and Smeargle being able to learn everything, and that's going to gain Smeargle a lot of usage, also combined with the fact that it's one of the few Pokemon that is able to learn Sticky Web because of Sketch, because of the fact that I just said it learns everything with the Sketch move. That's why people are using it, but yeah, at this time also, like, when it comes to all the entry hazards, we have really limited access to all the entry hazard users, because we don't have Pokemon Bank and we don't have move tutors that would teach our Pokemon Stealth Rock. So Smeargle, really good setup user for the most part, and I guess on that some aspect you see like you know, smash and pass, something like that, but its primary job at the moment is to set up entry hazards, because we have such a limited access to good Pokemon that would be able to do so. And then we got Sylveon, a specially defensive Fairy type Pokemon, being able to pass down those wishes, but new evolution and a special wall, a Fairy type. Not really much to say about this thing, but you know, it's a good, solid special wall that people are, of course, excited to be using, because it's a new evolution. So yeah. Anyways, I should probably be like going a bit faster, because I'm already going like half an hour, and I still got a lot more things to go through on this list. But yeah, let's move on. Gyarados, that thing also gained a Mega Evolution, but it has been OU Pokemon for the longest of time, and still a great Pokemon. And I guess with the Mega Evolution, it's also gaining some usage, I would say. But Gyarados still pretty much the same old, but new tricks with the Mega Evolution that people are excited about. So that's probably the reason why Gyarados is around 25 here. Then we got Galvantula. Sticky Web is the reason why people are using Galvantula. Period. I don't really have anything else to say about this, but yeah, Sticky Web, new entry hazard. Galvantula being probably I would say the fastest user of this thing. So you might be seeing a lot of this thing as a suicide lead with Focus Sash. It sets up that Sticky Web, then it's able to hit you with like Bug Buzz and Thunder. I guess something interesting that Galvantula can do now is that with Bug Buzz it is able to hit through substitutes because of the new mechanics of sound-based moves ignoring subs. So that's something slightly interesting. But Sticky Web is the main reason why this Pokemon is used at this moment. And then we got Skarmory, a solid wall from the past generation, has access to bunch of entry hazards, reliable recovery in Roost, solid typing in Steel and Flying, and you know, still pretty much the same old Skarmory. Didn't really gain anything, but still a solid support Pokemon for the team. And then we got Togekiss. This thing was turned into a Fairy and Flying type, and that makes this, well, I can't call it a hard counter to Garchomp, but it does have immunity to Ground and Dragon, and that is pretty incredible, combined with the good natural bulk that this Togekiss has. It definitely makes it an interesting Pokemon now, and you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of this Pokemon in the OU tier because of that. But if you're facing something like sub SD Garchomp, the easiest way to deal with it is with Togekiss because of its immunity to its dual stab. But simply the fact that we all know how dangerous the Dragon Ground combination is, and the fact that Togekiss is immune to this combination is absolutely incredible. And that's why a lot of Garchomps these days tend to carry Stone Edge, but if they don't, they might be in trouble against Togekiss. But yeah, still, like Stone Edge is still a really unreliable way to take down a Togekiss. But yeah, the immunity to Dragon and Ground is definitely gaining Togekiss some usage, and you know, the new Fairy type is really working out well for it. But anyways, then we got Volcarona, and yeah, not much to say about it. It's pretty much the same old dangerous Volcarona. It still waits to Stealth Rocks, but I gotta say, it's gonna be interesting how this Pokemon is gonna turn out in the in December once we have access to all the default users, because you know, it is much easier to get rid of Stealth Rocks, which is the biggest problem for this Pokemon. But still, at this time, like, a lot of people are not even using entry hazards that much. But so when you talk about Volcarona, you know, it's still pretty much the same old, the best user of the Quiver Dance, definitely. So that is what is really gaining usage for it, and it's still overall a great Pokemon. And also, it can ignore those subs with the Bug Buzz, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, moving on to Florges, another specially defensive Fairy type, much like Sylveon right here. I'm certain these two will face some competition with each other. Which one is going to be the primary special wall being used? Which one is going to be, because they pretty much fill in the same role, because they are both like specially orientated walls that I think the best way you can utilize them is with some wish support. I'm not sure if I would think that Sylveon would have access to like Heal Bell, because this thing, Florges, at least has aromatherapy, but still another especially defensive Fairy type. And gotta say, when like Latios comes out, this thing could be useful. Also coupled with Sylveon, although both of these things don't have the best physical defense, so that kind of blows for them. But if you need a specially defensive fairy type, definitely consider one of these Pokemon. And good wish supporters both. But then we got good old Fortress right here. Of course, has access to a lot of entry hazards. I don't think it has access to Sticky Web, because in the past it has access to all the entry hazards. But right now I don't think it gets Sticky Web, at least not at this time. You know, it's not a spider or anything. Who knows if through tutors that move will have better access to some other Pokemon besides like the 4 current ones that we know of, like Smeargle, Galvantula, what have you, Ariados, and Shuckle. Are there more? There might be a few more, but yeah, Galvantula and Smeargle are the best users of it, at least at this time. But going back to Fortress, you know, it's still setting up hazards and spinning like it has done in the past. Much has not really changed, really. But then we got Starmie, also a solid spinner at this time, because we don't have access to too many default users at this time. And you know, it's a fast, rapid spinner, has a great special move pool, and still pretty much the same as in the past. And then we got Espeon, one of the better Magic Bounce users. Now we do have that new Magic Bounce user in Mega Absol, but defensively this is the best Magic Bouncer, really. Has dual screen support. You know, I guess its Morning Sun is slightly more reliable now because there is no perma weather anymore, so you don't need to worry about sand and rain that much, so it can be healing off with that Morning Sun. But overall, really great utility Pokemon, like it was in the past. And then moving on, we got Mobile, and of course the reason why this Pokemon is used is because of its Mega Evolution, which is pretty incredible. And gotta say, I think I said in the past, earlier, that Azumarill is one of the better, if not the best, physical fairy type attacker. But of course, this is arguably the best one because it's just absolutely incredible. Because Mega Mobile has access to huge power, and it is really great that you can send out Mobile, have that intimidate, and then Mega Evolve and suddenly have huge power. And that is a really great asset for Mobile, and a really easy way to gain a chance to set up that free Swords Dance. And while it's still not the fastest thing, it has also access to Sucker Punch to kind of bypass its speed issue. Of course, there are the prediction and the mind games, but you know, coupled with Swords Dance, huge power, incredibly high attack. I don't even know how high it is, but I think it's one of the highest, if not the highest, all-time highest attack stat in the entire game, coupled with that huge power. It is just absolutely insane. But yeah, Mega Mobile is gaining usage for the Mobile, of course. And then we got Breloom, which is a good Pokemon with Technician, which it gained in the past generation, and still good with the Poison Heal. But still, the problem is with Breloom is that it kind of took a hit with the new or the old sleep mechanics returning from Generation 4, and also you cannot put grass types to sleep with Spore, and that kind of hurts it. And also low sweep got buffed up to 65, so Breloom cannot be using it, although it did gain Rock Tomb, which is now 60 base power and more accurate than it was in the past. I think it's like 95. So that's kind of nice for it. But Technician Breloom, definitely a dangerous Pokemon, but still kind of got nerfed in this generation, so not surprising to see it this low, but still a dangerous Pokemon, so definitely worth of the OU status, I would say. We shall see what's going to happen to Breloom in the future, but I've been using this thing a lot, and it's just an incredible as a lead. Focus Sash user, put something to sleep, get that momentum going on, and just go from there. I really like Focus Sash Breloom, one of my favorites as a lead. But anyways, then we got Tyrantrum. That's the new rock Dragon-type fossil Pokemon has access to Strong Jaw and Dragon Dance. You know, something that the Rampardos, that just comparing the two, because Rampardos has really high attack and it's also a dinosaur Pokemon, so you can definitely compare Tyrantrum to Rampardos, but this Pokemon is part Dragon and has access to Dragon Dance. Also has Head Smash coupled with Rock Head, and that Strong Jaw, and definitely an interesting Pokemon. Not sure if it's gonna be sticking in the OU tier in the future, but as of now, definitely an interesting new Pokemon for sure. Its speed is not the best. It's around like 70, is it 71, something like that. So not the best, but still coupled with its Dragon Dance and its great moves that it has to go with the Strong Jaw, and the other option being in the Head Smash and Rock Head no recoil. That's absolutely incredible, combined with like Choice Band or Choice Scarf, or that Dragon Dance. But yeah, we shall see what's gonna happen to that Tyrantrum. But Cloyster, still probably one of the best Shell Smash users, although we have the new one, which is Barbaracle, which is down here. But Cloyster, of course, has the access to Skill Link ability, which is great for it. So that is still gaining some usage for it, and we shall see what's going to happen between Cloyster and the Barbaracle, because they kind of perform the same role. But Cloyster, of course, has the multiple hitting moves, and Barbaracle, then again, has it's not weak to Stealth Rocks for starters, and it has different move pool. Has access to fighting type moves, and giving it good rock and fighting type coverage, but it's a tad bit slower than Cloyster, so we shall see. But Shell Smash, these two are definitely the best users, have the best sweeping potential with it, so on their own. So yeah, not much else to say about Cloyster. Hasn't really changed much. It became just great in the previous generation, and it still is with the Shell Smash and Skill Link. And then we got Mamoswine, and gotta say, Mamoswine still is really hard Pokemon to deal with. It's ice and ground coverage is really difficult to deal with, because it hits just incredibly hard. Aside from like Skarmory and Bronzong, it's really hard to switch into this thing, and you often see this thing as a Focus Sash Stealth Rock user. And of course it is the great Dovahkiin, as in the Dragon Slayer, has that priority stab Ice Shard, which is still gaining it some usage, and has the Thick Fat ability from Gen 5 still, which is pretty cool for it. But yeah, Mamoswine is still gonna be the great Dragon Jack of this generation, and good momentum gainer for every team to set up Stealth Rocks and hit everything incredibly hard with its great dual stab moves. So yeah, there's that. Then we've got Venusaur. Of course, that Pokemon gained Mega Evolution. The Mega Venusaur, which is gaining it some usage. And in the past, it was the primary sweeper in the sun, coupled with the Chlorophyll ability. However, now it's not that useful because there's no perma sun. So perhaps the Mega Venusaur is gonna keep gaining it more usage. But of course, the downside is that with Mega Venusaur, it cannot have lefties because it has to have the Mega Stone. But still, it has the Thick Fat ability, increased bulk, and utility, Lead Seed, and Synthesis for recovery. So it is a pretty solid wall still, but not really surprising to see it this low in the tier. And then we got Zygarde, the legendary Pokemon, but I guess a lot of people are just using Mega Garchomp as their ground dragon Pokemon of choice, and Zygarde has kind of been left in the shadows. But I'm not sure how many people were aware of Zygarde's existence during the first week of tiers, because much like Kyurem in the previous generation, this Pokemon you know, I guess it's gonna be the mascot of the Pokemon Z, if that's gonna be a thing. So it has that legendary status right there. But you know, the offensive stats are still kind of mediocre. That's why it's an OU Pokemon. But we shall see in the upcoming months how Zygarde's usage is gonna be picking up as people are gonna be aware of this thing. But it does have access to Dragon Dance and Coil and Extreme Speed, Outrage, EQ. Those are really the best moves that it has, and it does have some other interesting moves, but those are the main attraction of it. It is quite defensive, but offensively it's not, you know, that threatening as compared to something like Garchomp. So we shall see how this Pokemon is gonna find its place, but of course the access to Dragon Dance is huge for it, so yeah, we shall see what's gonna happen to it. But then we got Tentacruel. You cannot be really using Rain Dish anymore as well as you could in the past with the Drizzle Politoed, so that kind of sucks for it, but still Poison and Water is really interesting defensive typing that Tentacruel can do, and at this time it's definitely a good Rabbit Spin user, as we still don't have access to many default users at this time, and Tentacruel can spin and scald things, and I guess it can now also use something like Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave against those new fairy types, so that might be something that Tentacruel could be now using, but without Perma Rain it's just not the same as it was in the past, unfortunately. And then we got Heliolisk, the normal electric type Pokemon, which is, I don't know. I think it has 109 attack, special attack and speed, and I don't think it has any, like, really any good, like, support moves, but then again, it shouldn't be, like, using them. I mean, support moves as in, like, setup moves, like, what could it get? Like Nasty Plot, Calm Mind? I don't think it has access to those, you know, which kind of sucks. But this thing, I think, is a really good choice specs and Scarf and Life Orb user. Nevertheless, as pretty good move pool. At least it has immunity to Shadow Sneak. Then again, it won't be breaking down Aegislash anytime soon, so that kind of sucks for it. Aegislash is gonna be only setting up Sword Stances on this thing, but you know, it has Volt Switch and Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Surf. What else does it have? Like Grass Knot, and when you slice in Hidden Power there. I think this is gonna be a lower tier Pokemon, I would say, like in the UU or maybe even RU, because it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of a weird Pokemon, but at this time at least, you know, of course people are using it because it's new, but outside of like the moves that I just mentioned, like, it doesn't really get any better than that, and because it doesn't have any good setup moves, I think that's really hurting this Heliolisk Pokemon. But the normal electric type is definitely interesting. And, well, gotta say, it does have, like, great ability. All of its abilities go well with Weather, but unfortunately, you know, Weather got nerfed this gen. Gotta say, this would have been so great to have in the Generation 5 metagame, because it has Dry Skin, it has Solar Power, or then it can have, whatchamacallit, the Sand Veil. So all of the abilities go well with some sort of weather, which is really interesting. But unfortunately, there is no perma weather anymore, so it cannot really abuse those abilities as well as it could have in the past. So I think that is what is going to be really hurting Heliolisk. Otherwise, gotta say, like, in doubles, this could be really cool to have, like, something with Surf, and then you could be healing this Pokemon and then just, you know, possibly discharging. But then again, a Water type wouldn't be really enjoying that hit unless it's like Lantern. But anyways, I'm just rambling. But yeah, the lack of perma weather is, I think, is kind of hurting this thing. Otherwise, it could be like really great. Then we got Jolteon. which is kind of down here. It's never been really a top tier OU Pokemon, but it's really a fast, hard hitting special sweeper. So I guess people are still finding it really useful, but I don't know. I guess it's not that used in the rain, so I guess that doesn't compensate for the lack of usage that much, but it does really enjoy those rain boosted Thunders, but yeah, Thunder and Thunderbolt got nerfed in this gen. Not that much, but I don't really know. Jolteon is still the same old. It has never been a top tier OU Pokemon, and now still it is kind of down here, but it's really fast, and it has decent special move pool, so there's that, I guess. And then we got Clawitzer. That's the new Pokemon with the Mega Launcher ability, which is the reason why people are using it. It's one of the best users of it, aside from Mega Blastoise. I wouldn't really consider this thing a top tier OU Pokemon, but people are just now using it because it's new. And it has all those fancy moves to go well with its ability, so there's that. But otherwise it's kind of so slow, which is its main problem, and it's still not, you know, the greatest when it comes to its special attack. It can hit hard, but there are like better things that are just also faster, like let's say Jolteon. And of course it has a whole different move pool and everything, but still I think the speed is gonna be the biggest problem that Clawitzer has to bypass, and it really cannot do that, and that's really gonna hurt its usage in the OU tier in the future, I would say. And then we got Diggersby. That's an interesting, huge power user, and has Stab, like Return and Earthquake, which are really hitting hard, and also quick attack for priority, so it's kind of like a different kind of Azumarill. Both of them are like rabbits. Or is Azumarill considered a mouse? I'm sure some people will get offended if I call Azumarill either a mouse or a rabbit, and if I don't know the difference, people are gonna get offended by that because people are weird. Why would you hurt a fictional thing that doesn't have feelings? Why would you do that? But anyways, I'm rambling right now. But huge power is definitely interesting for this Pokemon. It has pretty high speed. I think it gets like agility, so you could be doing like Adam and Nature agility sweeper, I guess. But with Choice Band, I think that's where the true potential of this Pokemon lies. But it's not a top tier OU Pokemon right now, and I don't know if it's gonna continue to be one. At least it is one of the better checks to Aegislash, being part normal type and ground. It is immune to Aegislash's common priority move, Shadow Sneak, and it can kind of destroy it with a Choice Banded Earthquake for sure. So there's that, but not a top tier Pokemon, and I think it's gonna be kind of like for the upcoming months probably gonna be sticking down here, I'd say. But who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen to Diggersby? Would be cool if it had some sort of attack boosting move like Swords Dance, but then again coupled with huge power, that would be kind of crazy. Then again we have Azumarill Belly Drum, but that's a whole different story, so rambling, moving on. Then we got Delphox down here, and it's kind of like a special attacking Victini, although Victini can easily go special too, because it has a great move pool. And in the future, I think this Pokemon is gonna gain a lot of competition from Victini, and because of Victini's ability to go mixed, I don't think the Delphox is gonna be gaining too much usage, although it has higher special attack and speed than Victini. But then again, Victini just has overall greater move pool, more versatile than what Delphox has, and you know, defensively, Fire and Psychic is not really the greatest typing, and offensively, it's really nothing too special either. So I don't really know about the Delphox, and you know, Victini has access to like electric type moves. I don't think this thing gets like Thunderbolt. Does it get like Thunder? I don't know, but it's definitely gonna be in the future gaining some competition from Victini for sure. And at this time, you know, it's nothing too special. And when it comes to starters, you know, a lot of people are just using the Greninja. as their fast special attacking sweeper. Of course, this Pokemon plays a different role with its typing, but you know, it's not used that much because it's, you know, honestly not that great. But anyways, moving on, we got Blissey next on the list, and still the annoying special blob wall. It's still a normal type though, so people were scared that this thing would be turned into a fairy type, but perhaps, thank goodness, thank Arceus, it was not. But still a great supporter, although at this time we do not have access to Wish, and I think that is one of the reasons which is hurting Blissey's usage, because it's one of the best Wish passers in the entire game, and at this time it doesn't have access to it because we need to export it from the previous games, which we cannot do at this time. So that is what is really hurting Blissey's usage. But once we get the Wishy, we get access to Wishy and Chansey with Wish from the past generations, I'm sure Blissey will gain some more usage too. And then we got Barbaracle here. I kind of already talked about this a bit, but a dangerous Shell Smash Sweeper for sure. I really like this thing. I've had some good moments with this Pokemon. In fact, I'm gonna be uploading one battle featuring Barbaracle tomorrow, I think. Yes. So stay tuned for that in the Showdown. But yeah, Shell Smash Sweeper. That is really its primary attraction. Why people are using this thing. I guess it could go Choice Bandit too, but Shell Smash is the way to go, I would say. Then we got Gardevoir, also gained the Fairy typing. It's now Fairy and Psychic type, and that's why people are using it. Also has the new Mega Evolution, another reason why people are using it. And I think that's one of the main reasons why people do so at this time. But I don't really know, is Mega Gardevoir enough of a reason for this Pokemon to stay in the OU tier? I would say no. I think it's probably going to be in the future dropping down in the usage. But at this time, you know, people are wanting to try it out. It's a new Mega Pokemon and everything, the Fairy typing. So yeah, there we go. And then we got Vaporeon, still struggling in the OU tier. We shall see what's going to happen to Vaporeon in this generation. But a solid, bulky water, like it has been always in the past. Being able to pass down those high wishes, I think that is still the main attraction of Vaporeon. And then we got Blastoise, which, you know, of course gained the Mega Blastoise. That's why people are using it a lot right now, or quite a bit. You know, it's one of the. In fact, Mega Blastoise. I think if you were to make the, excuse me, the official cut, I think it is still at Smogon at 3.4%. That is the official cut for the OU tier. So on that aspect, Blastoise would be the last OU Pokemon. Of course, no tiers are being made at this moment, or the official tier for the cut for the UU Pokemon or anything, because people are just now using a lot of Pokemon for the sake of using them because everything is new. And I think on that note, I'm probably gonna be like ending this right here, because this would be the cut for the OU tier. But yeah, Mega Blastoise. It has the Mega Launcher. It also has the. I think you can breed from the Clawitzer, all the Aura Spheres and Dark Pulses and Water Pulses. I think it already gets Water Pulse, but at least Aura Sphere and Dark Pulse and Dragon Pulse too. You can get by breeding on Blastoise. So it has Mega Blastoise has access to all those new moves. So Blastoise has a few new coverage options, and I think it would be. At least at this time, it would make a decent offensive spinner, because it has all those great coverage moves, and it can also rapid spin. So I think that's one of the interesting things that Blastoise has going on for itself at this time. But I don't think it's going to be really sticking in the OU tier, even despite its Mega Evolution. But yeah, this would be the cut for the OU tier, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be really interesting to see in the upcoming months how the tiers are gonna be developing, and I'm gonna make more of these videos, and hopefully a bit less in depth. honestly, I didn't even go in depth, but I wanted to say something about all these Pokemon. And I thought I would make a video like this, at least for now. Tell me what you think. I'm sure this was, again, a bit too long. I'm gonna just make this into one episode, because, you know, usually my tier rambling podcasts have been long in the past too, and since these were the first usage stats, I thought it would be kind of interesting to dive into them and go, like, a bit more in depth. I'll try to ramble quickly in the future, and just kind of quickly glance through them, I hope. But I hope some of you watched this thing and enjoyed. And let's quickly just see what we got here. We got the table Pokemon. Avalok. Dragalge is the Poison Dragon type. Like, it has like pretty good special defense, and good typing, but its support move, it doesn't have reliable recovery. That kind of sucks for it. Hawlucha, interesting Pokemon. It's a shame that we don't have Flying Gem at this moment. Who knows if we are going to in the future, though. But Acrobatics and Sword Dance would be interesting for it. But then Politoed, it's kind of fun to see how Politoed is so down here in the gutter as opposed to the Generation 5, as it was one of the top tier Pokemon. It was usually in the top 5 of usage because of the Drizzle ability, but now with no Perma-Rain, people don't really find it too interesting anymore. And then of course Ditto. I find Ditto really useful Pokemon because I have no idea what I'm up against, so I'm using Ditto as my Scarf Pokemon, and I can scout my opponents and see like, oh, you're running this kind of thing and that kind of thing, and I can learn with using Ditto. That's why I find Ditto really useful, and that's why I also put it on my first competitive team. Also because I didn't really know what to use as a Scarfer. I was like, I need a Scarfer for this team. What should I use? I got like many options to choose from, but I don't really know what would work for the best for the team. So I might as well use everything, right? Because Ditto can be anything. Ditto can be anything, pretty much. Then we got Hydreigon, Salamence, and we got a bunch of other dragons that have kind of filled in the role. I guess I was earlier comparing Hydreigon with Noivern, and I think Noivern is kind of gaining the usage at this moment. Who knows if Hydreigon is going to be coming back. The 4 times weakness to Fairy might be a problem for it, coupled with something like Sylveon and Florges as special walls. Maybe it is time for Hydreigon to really go mixed in this generation. Who knows? Then we got Salamence. Chestnut is down here. I kind of like this Pokemon with a spiky shield and spikes and lead seed and some sort of attacking move. And also it makes kind of a hard counter to Gengar, because it's immune with bulletproof ability to all of its common moves. And in the past, like, I've been worried about it because Gengar seems to have access to Sludge Wave, but I believe it's not the case, because I was trying to teach it to my my Gengar, because I finally bought it from the Pokemon Maison. Pokemon Myson. Battle-Myson. I bought that move there, but Gengar wasn't able to learn that. But on Showdown, Gengar does learn it. I don't know if it learns it through breeding or something, or maybe, you know, at this time, you know, Showdown is on beta, so Gengar just learns it, even though it doesn't necessarily get it. Somebody let me know about that. But I think it's really interesting to know that Chestnut kind of does well Gengar, although people might be running Dazzling Gleam on it, because, you know, Fairy type coverage might be decent for Gengar. I've been using that right now in the beginning of tiers, because I didn't have access to some other moves, so I was like, hey, let's put the Dazzling Gleam on it and try that out. But yeah, aside from Dazzling Gleam, with bulletproof, Chestnut kind of, you know, walls Gengar, so that's something to make note of, and interesting support Pokemon. And yeah, I think I'm not gonna go further than the top 60 here. So we got Magnezone. The one Pokemon that you wanna be trapping is Aegislash, but Magnezone doesn't do a good job at it because it cannot trap Ghost types, and that Pokemon is part Ghost type. And right now, well, I guess on Showdown it's not really a problem, but on Wi-Fi it's kind of hard to breed HP Fire, even with the new Hidden Power mechanic. So That's kind of a problem. Then again, I shouldn't be talking about that because we are talking about the showdown statistics, where you can just slice and hidden power fire like that. But it's still like, I don't know. It's kind of down here because it's honestly not that good, and people are just using steel types in general. Kind of got nerfed, so I guess the essence of grabbing steel types is not that noteworthy, at least at this time. Who knows what's gonna happen in the future? But right now, I'm gonna stop rambling, so thank you so much for watching. Those of you who did. I don't know if I'm gonna keep doing this kind of format. Tell me what you think, where I go through the actual list and show you instead of just doing like a random podcast. But these were just, the first random statistics of the first week, so I thought I would try out a different kind of concept, just for the sake of, trying it out, aside from trying out all sorts of random Pokemon. But yeah, let me know what you think. And this video was definitely way too long, but that's the way it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles, and we shall see what I'm going to be doing next time. Some showdown coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, this is Spade signing out. Peace!